I didn't say City are bigger than Arsenal now. I said in 5 years' time, I obviously meant that City don't fall off a cliff. And then you was like, nah. So if City was in the next 5 years win, I'm not even going to say dominate. Let's just say we win, I don't know, 1 or 2 more Premier Leagues. And let's say we win 1 more Champions League, which is not, I don't think anyone here would say that's unrealistic. You're telling me then City, who would be, 10 trophies behind Arsenal, but have 2 Champions League to the name, wouldn't be bigger than Arsenal?
Well, this is where it's at. So this was to my original point. What are the metrics that we're going to agree upon as a group
We're not going to agree on metrics, though.
But why? But why not?
Errol, you know what you're doing? You're looking at the age factor, bro. I think if you ask people that's younger than you, they will look at it differently. Right now, Man City are creating history. I don't know why, but because it's happening right now, I don't think we're digesting it. In 10 years or 15 years time, when we look at Man City, as we're looking at other, like the Arsenals, what they've done with Invincible, etc., like we're doing right now, that builds up in 10, 15 years time, this will all digest. But right now, what Man City are doing is crazy, bro. Like Pep Guardiola's coming to the Premier League. And essentially, it hasn't turned into a farmers league. I wouldn't say that because Liverpool have come close, but he's controlled it, and now he's won the Champions League as well. There's a treble on their name as well, but because it's happening right now, we are not digesting it as it is.
So, what's going to happen? Let me ask you quickly then. So, in 60 years' time, Arsenal and Man City don't win anything else for 60 years. Who's the bigger club?
It'll be Man City 100%. Because you know what?
That's laughable, man. That is rubbish. Not true, bro.
Hold on. What happened to Everton?
Right. So if that's the case, then if that's the barometer, right? Forest won the European Cup twice on the spin. They dwarf us all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what we're saying. Forest better than us all.
Who's talking about Huddersfield? They have 3 league titles from the 20s, man.
I just think it's mad to say, all right, okay, so what's the period of dominance? 10 years or whatever? Arsenal have been at the top for a long time. Liverpool have been at the top for a long time. Man United, as much as it pains me, have been at the top for a long time. It can't just be like...
Yeah, but Joe, it's not just about being near the top, though. It's not just about being near the top. This is why when I said...
I don't mean near as in second, third. I mean winning things.
Winning
things. No, because they've been at the top of the table. They haven't had a period of dominance.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. This is why I said 5 years. I'm not saying in 5 years we'll overtake Liverpool or Man United, because obviously that's not going to happen. Because they've won so many trophies that they're the 2 biggest clubs in this country. But Arsenal, whilst they might have been at the top, they've not had that dominance that Liverpool and United have had in terms of trophies. If you just look at the cold hard facts, United and Liverpool are clear. That's why I'm only talking about Arsenal in the next 5 years, not Liverpool and Man United. That will take a lot longer.
For me, I hear what you're saying, but for me, that's a victim of circumstance because that's who say, for example, if we take Liverpool, this Klopp's Liverpool, right? And you just look at that you look at that through a magnifying glass. In the history books, they never win it, and we say, oh, well, they're not a big team because City dominated during that time. I just think there is certain periods during the game where they're a victim of circumstance due to the competition they were up against. You know what I mean? Okay, Arsenal might have not won in Europe, but they came up against top sides, etc. I don't know if you can just say
that's a cop out, man. Just they went up against better teams, but you've got to allow them because never again.
You know what? When you there are certain metrics or barometers that we could use to give us a much more stronger opinion based on all of this stuff. If you're going to have a particular point of view that, because City could potentially do it in the next 5 years, then you're obviously weighing up recent success, the history and the heritage that they're creating. But then you're not looking at the global fan base. You're not looking at their actual pull or the brand that is part of the club as well.
But that can change. That's not saying
that's going to change, Errol. It's going to change.
But we're having this conversation, so you think that can change?
Because now kids are picking Man United, Man City over Arsenal.
But this is what I'm saying. You think that can change significantly enough in just 5 years, so that if we had this conversation in 5 years' time,
I didn't say 5. I said 15.
No, but
I said 10, 15.
But this has been going on since 2010 now, Errol, since we got bought, though, isn't it? This is not just the next 5 years that this.
No, it's not, mate, and that's what I'm saying. But you're saying it's been on from 2010, so we're already at a point where it's continual history. It doesn't just become a 10-year period or a 15-year period. You've got to sustain that or be at those levels and operating in that altitude for almost half a century almost. Before people are like,
insane.
No,
that's
absolutely
not.
No, you're talking about your age group.
How? So if it's not right from the 80s,
when did Arsenal have half a century of
from the 80s, from 82 to 2023? How many years is that?
From what?
From like 82.
I hear what everyone's saying. You
from
can't
82 to right now. How many years is that?
Yeah, it's about 41 years.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's closer. That's closer to half a century than what you were saying it wasn't. Look at the history of where Liverpool have done from the 80s right up till now. Man U's history from the 80s, late 70s, 80s, right up until now.
We're talking about Man City and Arsenal.
No, yeah, I'm talking about City. I'm talking about Arsenal. I'm looking at Chelsea. All of those histories is from about the late 80s till now is what gives people the most kind of educated recency bias, even though it's not that recent, as a time capsule to say that's who was big, that's when who wasn't.
Man City have already won more league titles in that period than Arsenal have.
Yeah, but then
that's just Premier League titles, though.
But they've also won more Champions Leagues.
Success is nothing if you don't have anyone to celebrate it. So for me, the main number one metric, first and foremost, is fan base. Because what is the point in anything if no one is there to celebrate it? That's what I would say. And if you take everything away, is there still going to be someone there coming week in, week out to follow that football club? And when I think of City, and I'm sorry, LB, I don't think that pulls it. I've got a mate who I grew up with whose dad was an Everton fan, right? And he was an Everton fan. And now he goes week in, week out to Manchester City. And I see him on Facebook and I'm like, what are you doing? Your dad must be fuming. But this is the type of fan, much like Man United. I remember when Leeds United got relegated, and one of my best mates who I grew up with he's still going to support Leeds now. They got relegated. Again, it's a certain type of fan that teams that win all the time, they pull in. It's not real. Like when my team lose, I feel it.
But United have I feel it. Glory
I feel it. Just let me finish. And this is what I'm talking about, that real core group. For me, the first metric is fandom for me.
So can I not say that though, Joe? In direct response to that. But what I said before about City's loyal fan base in Division 2, is that not a fair argument to say, well, actually, we do have a loyal fan base?
Yeah, certain, like a small amount of it. Yeah, I guess.
Small. We've got 30,000 people following our club in a lower division. There's not many clubs that can say that.
I mean, we
can say it. You're saying not many clubs that can say that, but the clubs that have that fan base.
Sunderland did as well, I think.
Wouldn't have been to begin with.
Yeah, but no, because then I'm being attacked by both sides. Because one minute Joe's coming at me saying, now we're successful, you're going to get all these fake fans coming at you. So then I use in response that I've got a loyal fan base at our club, and then I'm like, well, we didn't have them, we didn't have to do that because we was always at the top. Well, then I'm being attacked by both sides and I can't win.
Okay, I think your fan base will grow though, because I feel like winning the way you guys are winning, especially at Akantar, you will basically usher in the next generation of fans. The fans nowadays, when fans are watching Premier League, they're seeing Man City with a lot of the best players, the best manager, winning the trophies, winning the Champions League. That's what will make your fan base increase. Chelsea were like this in 2002, 2003. They had a loyal fan base as well. They had a loyal fan base in London, and now Chelsea are a global name. They're a global brand. They have fans all over the world. Why? Because they have had years of success. They've had 2 decades where they've been winning trophies, and beyond the trophies as well. They've had, I feel like, another thing as well, when we talk about global appeal, it's about the caliber of players that you're attracting to the team and the players that appeal to certain continents. Chelsea, when they were winning titles in the 2000s, they had huge players from Africa. Huge players from Africa. They had Didier Drogba, they had Essien, they had John Obi Mikel. They had players that a lot of people across the continent of Africa liked enough to support Chelsea, which is why when you go to African countries now, the majority of the fans are Man United fans and Chelsea fans. Man United fans, Chelsea, Arsenal fans. They are. So who's to say that in 10 years' time that won't be Man City if you keep winning?
Can I just quickly jump in on the chat as well, because they're telling me, right, like, oh, Joe, you're chatting beans on this City stuff, right? Which, okay, but listen, you don't even fill your stadium on Champions League nights, so don't say that, because I know for a fact that Leeds would be queued like madness to get a Champions League ticket. So don't sit in the chat there telling me I'm chatting beans because of this and that, because you can't even fill your ground on a Champions League night, which is the pinnacle. And again, LB, that's no dig at you. I actually rate, I like City, etc. But what I'm saying is, you can't say that if you can't fill your stadium on the biggest nights. You just can't.
No, that's not true though. That's not true though.
They can.
We do fill our in on the biggest nights.
Okay, go. Do you, and what I will say to that as well, that doesn't include having tickets being sold on uni days for £15 because I was at uni and you could get City tickets uni days because I know at Ellen Roads, for example, or other clubs, there's none of that going down. It's like you would. Like,
well, that's for like a group stage game against some dead team.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Club Bruges.
What do you mean, D? Exactly. Leeds United, if we were in the Champions League tomorrow, every single game, home and away, would be different.
Why are they expanding the stadium? Why are they expanding the Etihad? Why have they been expanding the Etihad? Why are they still expanding it? If there's no demand for it, then they wouldn't expand it. Because there is demand for it, Joe.